How's it going, folks? Adrian here. Welcome back to the channel for the weekend MMO news drop. Before we begin, just wanted to let you guys know that there will be a separate news video that rounds up all the current ongoing Halloween events in various different MMOs, so stay tuned for that. And for now, let's get straight to the news, beginning with Guild Wars 2 and free stuff, because we do like free stuff. Beginning this week, all Guild Wars 2 players can grab a free 24-slot bag for simply signing up for the game's newsletter. To do this, simply log into your web account, head to settings, and put in an email address under newsletter subscription. Once you've received the confirmation email, simply log into the game and check your mail for the free bag. If you have done this prior to this promotion, then no further action is required. All existing players who are already subscribed will get the free bag too. There are a couple of things to note, however, and firstly is that you'll need to have at least one character on your account that you've logged into before in order to claim this. And secondly, the bag delivery can take up to a couple of weeks to arrive, and that's down to RNG, I guess. For example, my newish Steam account got the bag instantly when I logged in, while my 9-year-old account, which is already newsletter subscribed before this promotion, hasn't gotten it yet. Anyway, this is still a pretty great freebie for new players and returning players, so do not miss out. Moving on, there's plenty of World of Warcraft news, so let's start with the Dragonflight expansion pre-patch, which will be rolling out in 2 phases starting October 25th. The 25th of this month will see the first phase arrive, which includes new talent trees for every spec and for every race to be given a choice to play as rogues, mages, and priests. This patch will also contain new customization features for the HUD UI. The second patch arrives on November 15th, and coming with it is some sweet content featuring the all-new Dracthyr Invoker class race, which will be playable then, as well as the pre-patch content events, where players will have to address the primal storms that are covering parts of Azeroth, which also means new loot and stuff to get. Additionally, for World of Warcraft lore lovers, you'll want to check out the official WoW YouTube account on the 25th of October because a brand new animated short series titled Legacies featuring Nosdormu and the history of the Dragonflight will be premiering. Finally, for WoW, hey, if you ever wanted Twitch drops for World of Warcraft, good news because it's coming. Starting November 15th, Twitch drops will be enabled so you can start earning loot while watching your favorite streams. Rumors are that the Murloc mount will be one of the drops, unconfirmed though, but either way, get ready to link your Blizzard Battle.net account to your Twitch account. Next up, we're heading to free-to-play sandbox MMORPG Albion Online. This week, Sandbox Interactive revealed that its next update is called Beyond the Veil, and released a new video detailing some of the changes coming with it, including another look and revamping the Roads of Avalon. To summarize it for you folks, the Roads of Avalon changes includes the addition of new objectives and increased challenges for large group content, such as strengthened mobs and large portals, with small portals being removed. There's also changes to logging out in the roads, and doing so will return you to the place you first entered. And finally, there's changes to hideouts, such as requiring power to be maintained and more. Check out the developer video, link down below. And onward we go to Gamigo's open world sandbox MMO, Fractured Online. This week, Dynamite Studios has unfortunately announced that it is pausing all sales for players in Asia due to persisting latency issues that makes the game pretty difficult to play. As someone who plays Fractured from Southeast Asia, I can confirm these issues. Latency spikes occur at terrible moments, usually in the middle of battles and fights in camps, or when the game is rendering new landscape assets that can result in rubber banding or delayed skill input, so that's not fun. The stop of sale will only be from this week onward, so if you've already purchased a game, you can still play from Asia. Besides that, Fractured has also released a new update this week that introduces interplanetary travel, a new wildfolk subrace known as the Iridra, in addition to the Legends of Tera, which is a new feature that allows players the chance to summon some world bosses. Read more about these, links down below. Elsewhere, more news for Neverwinter, the free-to-play Dungeons & Dragons MMORPG. This past week, Art Games released a little written sneak peek at the next major content update coming to the game called North Dark Reaches, which launches on November 8th. This new module was made in collaboration with R.A. Salvatore and Gino Salvatore, names that D&D fans will be excited to hear, because this update will explore the events that take place between Starlight Enclave and Glacier's Edge, the first 2 books in R.A. Salvatore's The Way of the Drow trilogy. Players can expect an all-new campaign with fan-favorite characters, new repeatable instances, revamped vanilla dungeons, and more quality-of-life updates. Unfortunately, there's no new trailer to show for this, but I'll put a link to the web article down below. Now, before we head to the CROSSPLAY section, let's quickly do a recap of some big new content highlights that happened this past week. which was covered in last week's news drop. Most notable, of course, is New World's free expansion, Brimstone Sands, which added a new region, the greatsword weapon, and plenty of changes to things like the new player experience, updates to towns, and more. Black Desert Online also launched Abyss 1, The Magnus, a separate realm with new storylines and exclusive gear to grind for. Meanwhile, Old School RuneScape launched all new Fresh Start servers, which puts everyone on equal footing, and the race for world firsts is on. And finally, Final Fantasy XIV dropped patch 6.25, with all new quests for Hildebrand, some dungeons and tribal quests as well. Alrighty, so let's get to crossplay then, and if there are any Ragnarok fans out there, here's some good news. Gravity Interactive, the North American wing of the Korean studio, has just officially launched pre-registrations for Ragnarok Begins, a new cross-platform side-scrolling MMORPG that will be available on both PC and mobile coming this winter. Set about 100 years before the events of Ragnarok Origin, Ragnarok Begins will feature an all-new narrative that recounts the Great War between worshippers of Odin and Freya. The game will have 4 base jobs like the Swordsman, the Archer, Mage, and Acolyte, and you can use them in content such as PvP ranked matches or PvE server-wide world boss fights or dungeons when you're not progressing the main story. Since crossplay progression is available, you can pre-register for either PC or mobile and reap the rewards when launch comes around with goodies such as cosmetics, resources, and in-game currency. I'll put a link to the pre-registration website down below. Next, we've got news for Tower of Fantasy. This week, the free-to-play anime MMORPG has officially launched on Steam, bringing with it its version 2.0 update. The Steam launch contains all the game's updates and content that has been there since launch, and it supports full crossplay progression, so those coming from mobile to PC won't have to start all over again. As for version 2.0, this update introduces some new quests and raids tied to the brand new floating cyberpunk region of Miroria. The update also adds some quality of life improvements for players who do use controllers, so all around pretty good stuff. I've heard plenty of good and bad things about Tower Fantasy, and a few of you folks have asked me to check it out, so I'll probably jump into it in the coming days on Steam. And finally, for mobile MMO players in Southeast Asia, Tera Classic has begun its closed beta testing for Android devices until October 23rd. For those that didn't know, the original Tera MMORPG on PC is dead, and rising from the ashes are private servers, and this abomination, Tera Classic. It's published by PlayPark, covering 11 different countries in Southeast Asia, and comes with localization for Thai, English, Chinese, and Bahasa. The game itself is your average factory-produced mobile MMO. It's got a main campaign, side quests, dungeons, and open-world PvP, bundled in with auto quests and auto battles, with the Tera skin slapped on it. While the gender-locked classes are undoubtedly Tera, the combat system is anything but. And one thinks that if you are feeling nostalgic for Tera, it's best if you check out the private servers instead, over this mobile MMO. However, if you still want to check it out with 1 day remaining to test it, you'll need to register for the APK download, and I'll put a link to it down in the comments. And that's all I've got for now, folks. If there's news for a game you play which isn't covered here in this video, do share what's going on with the rest of us down in the comments section. In the meantime, hit the like button for the love of MMOs, and feel free to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you never miss an upload. Once again, I'm Adrian, and I thank you for watching. Enjoy your weekend, folks.